Hi everyone, today we are going to continue our series on learning the basics of a 1970s sewing machine. So these machines are really unique in that they actually have a slide-in bobbin case. And so the whole system of the bobbin is interesting. There's a bobbin and then you slide that into a case and then that case goes into a shuttle which has a pin in the center of it. So I call it a slide-in bobbin system. And so if you have one of these machines at home, you might want to be watching because it's quite a detailed process. As well, we're going to learn how to wind the bobbin on the top of the machine and make sure that it's winding properly, because sometimes if it's not winding properly because it's an old machine or it hasn't been serviced in a while, that can really cause a lot of nesting. So let's look at that today. So here we are back with my 1970s Sears Kenmore, and many people have been wondering what the model number is. It's 1803. That's the model of it, and the way that I can tell that is when I lift this up out of its cabinet, there's a plate right here on the front of your Kenmore, and you can actually find your model number and your serial number both here. Some of them will be underneath, some of them could be on the very back. But regardless, that is where you will find it. So look for your model number and that will help you search for your instruction manual, any parts that you need, anything that's compatible with it. It's all with the model number. So check that out. When we are looking at our machine today, what we're going to be doing is we're looking underneath of here, and I have it lit up from underneath. There's a little groove in the plate here you can kind of see, and what I'm going to do is pop my finger underneath and it's just going to pop up, and you can see that disc slides out, this plate slides out so perfectly, and there it is. And so I'll just put this off to the side and we're going to dive in deeper. So what we've zoomed into here is the full shuttle assembly. You can see the two black levers on either side. There's one here and there's one here, and these rotate back and forth. And what it's holding is this thing right here, which is the shuttle race cover. And the shuttle race cover just keeps the shuttle and the shuttle race all into the machine so that it's not falling out while you're sewing. And the shuttle basically rotates in that shuttle assembly. It rotates around back and forth so that your lower thread is able to make that lock stitch with the upper thread. So what we're going to do to remove it, you can see on this bobbin case here, that's what your bobbin is held in with. There's a little lever right here and you pull it out. And as soon as you lift that lever, it's like releasing the whole entire bobbin. And you can see the pin on the inside of the shuttle assembly now. That pin is actually what holds your bobbin in place. And you can see, I'm going to throw this right in front, the inside of the bobbin case, this is what your bobbin goes into, has this little hole here, this little mechanism here, where that pin will go into. So this is what I like to call the slide-in bobbin case, because it slides into that pin, if that makes any sense. Sometimes they slide sideways, sometimes this one's sliding in from the front to the back. They all differ a little bit. So to wind our bobbin full of thread, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the side where the hand wheel is, and I'm going to disengage my needle from going up and down. That's really what I'm going to do. So some people have a little push button on the inside where they push the inside of their hand wheel in. Mine actually pops out. So you can see my hand wheel, it just popped right out. I'm just giving it a pull out and that should work. I think most of them are either a pop-in or a pop-out system, but that's what you want to do. You want to disengage. Next, I'm going to go to my bobbin winder shaft. I have metal bobbins for this machine specifically because plastic ones would be weighted wrong for this machine. I can get this size in weight. I believe these ones are 15. I might be completely off on that. because I have about 3 machines and they all have different bobbins. So this one, I know for this machine, it's weighted for metal. I don't get the plastic ones. It would actually destroy my machine. So I pop this onto the top until I hear a click. There's a little wire at the top that kind of holds it down. Next, I am going to grab some orange thread so you can kind of see where my thread is going. I will grab my orange thread, I'll put it on a pin, and then what I plan to do is thread it around this tension disc winder. So many people have these. Some of them are at the front, some of them I've seen at the back, but this one is right smack dab in the middle. And basically what you're going to do is try and, there's a little knob on the top and you want it to go underneath of that knob in between. There's 2 tension discs in here and I want it underneath that tension disc. So you're going to go from the front or from the back to the front with that. And then what you want to do is you want to place the bobbin, we've got it on the winder, and we're going to wind this thread around the bobbin clockwise. So we're going around it. And I like to go and wrap mine around a couple times. And then what I do is I take my thread and I feed it through one of these holes. I'm going to push this latch now. Now that I have my thread through, I'm going to push this latch toward my bobbin. Now, if your bobbin is a metal bobbin and it's cheap, you might find that it's actually got bent edges. So this and this are, they're wobbly. You'll see that it will slow down when you're winding. It'll slow to a halt. You don't want that. You want to have this running smoothly all the way around. The other thing you want to watch for is that your thread is going up and down, up and down. If it's not making a tight wind on your bobbin, you're going to actually have a lot of problems with your machine. So make sure that the machine is threading very nicely up and down, and you want to make sure that it's also a tight weave, a tight wind, I guess. Now that I have this done, I am going to put my foot onto the pedal once I can reach it, and you're going to watch that thing rotate. Here we go. I'm going to hold my thread and I'm going to give it a couple twists. So once you get this completely wound, this little mechanism will pop out. It will pop out automatically. You don't have to do it manually, but if you don't want a lot on here, sometimes I only wind my bobbins a little bit, I'll actually manually pull that out. But if you want a full bobbin, it will just pop out and you know that you're done. You take this off, you re-engage your hand wheel, and then I just cut it. And so then there is your bobbin completely wound. We're going to put our bobbin into our bobbin case. We're going to make sure that our thread is going clockwise and that this little arm or handle, I guess, that's on the front is facing down and that our thread is up. We're going to pick up our bobbin, put it onto this little pin and making sure that we're still going clockwise and our thread is up. We're going to turn it to the side and we're going to look for this little groove in the side of the bobbin case. We're going to take our thread, pull it down into that groove, and it's right beside the tension screw. You'll see it in a minute. There it is, tension screw. That's how we loosen and tighten the tension on this bobbin case. And we're going to lead it underneath of this bobbin tension plate. And once we get it down, there's this little hole here, and it should be just inside of that. As we lift it up, we shouldn't have this bobbin falling out. Now that we have our bobbin case completely filled, what we're going to do is make sure that our needle's up and that our top thread is moved to the back. We're going to lift up this bobbin plate, move it off to the side, and next what we're going to do, and this can be a little tricky, I like to keep my thread tail a little bit on the longer side. Some people like it shorter, but I like it just a bit longer because that's what's going to be looped up through the needle hole here. So I'm going to grab this lever. I'm going to go underneath. Some people like to go right in here. I like to go underneath. It's just easier. So here I go underneath. You'll be able to see. I'm going to take my bobbin, and right where that hole is, I'm going to put the pin right into that. Also, the arm has to be up because there's actually a little lip here where that arm will slot into. Yep, it's in there. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this plate off. I'm going to hold my upper thread, and I'm going to turn my hand wheel toward me, and you'll see that shuttle going around. It's going to go down. It's going to grab that thread, and I'm just turning the hand wheel towards me. Once I can see that the shuttle has come back around, I'm going to lift up on my upper thread ever so gently, and I can see there's my bobbin thread coming through, and so I'm going to pull it out and then move both threads to the back and put my bobbin plate back on, and we're ready to sew. This is it. That's all it is. If you have an old machine like this and you are still confused as to how to thread it or how to wind the bobbin or how to even put the bobbin in, you know what? Look for your instruction manual online. All you need to know is the model number, and you should be able to find online exactly what you need to do. They have everything laid out, and these are great little helps. They give you pictures on how to manage and what all your knobs are for, and just step-by-step instructions. They're very, very clear, and most even have little guides that nowadays on the new machines, they put right on the machines. But these are just helpful, so check them out. Get one of these today, and it won't be so hard. That is how you wind and thread and load a bobbin on a 1970s sewing machine. Thanks for watching.